Here we are. Hello and welcome to the last part of my unemployment. I start work on Monday. It's currently Wednesday, and I spent the last 2 months unemployed as hell. I've been so deeply unemployed, but I've been finding myself a whole lot, and I've taken y'all on this journey. Admittedly, not as much as I would have thought, and kind of broke it up into the different parts. And so we started out, and I just left my job. I spent a week about pondering that leave, and I was in a state of, oh my God, I did it. Is this the right decision? Did I just completely screw myself out of living in Miami? And am I going to be able to do it? All of these questions of self-doubt, and was it the right call, and just questioning what my future was going to hold. And when you get into a place of, I don't know what's going on, how blessed are you that you have all of these options in front of you? Because the real torture and the real part of life that is hard is when you're stuck. You haven't changed anything. You aren't changing. You aren't evolving. You need to constantly be evolving. And that's what I did. I evolved in these last 2 months. I've changed dramatically, not only my life position, but also who I am as a person. And for the better. For the better a lot in both ways. And so where I am now, I'm coming at this from a place of real inner peace, especially with where I am with my career, because not only did I get back into real estate, I had 2 jobs that really told me where I want to go. And what I mean by that is they were very, very different opportunities, but both of them were about equal pay and about equally as awesome in my brain, but for 2 different types of people. And so I was here. I was at this crossroads, and I was like, I can take this job or I can take this job. And I'm very happy with my decision. I think that I made the right decision, and I made it for the reasons that are true to myself, because I wanted to really express how this journey has transformed me mentally into understanding much better what I truly want in life. And what I mean by that is I've always wanted it all, and I still want it all, but in a different kind of way, and realizing what I want to be doing during the day and how I want to be working, the type of work that I want to be working. I started this saying that I wanted to be on the more technical, analytical side of things, and really that's just not me. I mean, that is just not me. Sitting behind a computer and typing into a spreadsheet every single day is not what I want to be doing, and it's also just not my skill set. And so my real skill set that I've learned is my communicative abilities. Just talking with people, forming relationships, understanding what they want and need, and being able to provide that to them. And that's super, super broad, but I think it goes really well into this position that I'm going to do, because I'm going to be starting out in a little bit more of an executive assistant role, but my actual job title is a special projects coordinator. And special projects coordinator is purposely very broad, because he needs me to be there to fill a gap right now, but a big focus on the position is where I'm going to be able to grow from that. And so with the way that the company works, you can be put into certain projects and then you stay with them for the life of the project. And I'm very interested in the fact that I will be a part of many, many projects and coordinating the people within those many, many projects. And so the other job that I was looking at was definitely going to be a more technical role. So what I was doing with the other job was very, very different. It was much more going to be behind the computer and taking a look at, okay, how do we get this product to market? How do we run the entire IT system behind that and get our sales process down? And I took a look at the job description and I was immediately super excited about it. And I was like, yes, this is great. This is what I've been doing with my business development job before this. And there are technical aspects of it that I like, but then there's also going to be meeting with executives of companies and effectively selling our software. And it was very, very exciting for what I thought that I wanted. And in looking at both of these opportunities, initially, I much more wanted to go with that. I thought that I would be at a bit higher of a position within the company. It would be at a startup, and so there was a ton of growth potential with not only my position, but also the company. Not that there's not growth potential with the other one, but growth potential in a different way, in a much more foundation of the company way, rather than joining a large company and working through the corporate ladder. And some people, that is what they want. For me, I came to realize that was less what I want. And it is so interesting to me because that's what I thought that I wanted. I thought that I wanted to build a company from the ground up and just change the world, and I still do, but I don't think that that's what I want right now. I want to be working at a well-established firm and see how the process of a company is done properly, and then pivot to that, and then get into that kind of startup mentality. And they're just completely different jobs, but they really they really forced me to take a look at what I'm good at and what I want. And so here I am, sitting firmly believing in my decision to go with the company that I did. So all of that is to say, holy cow, how blessed am I to be able to pick between those and learn this about myself. And so going back to the very beginning, this is why I did that. Because I didn't leave my job with a specific plan in mind. I left it to find myself and to find my way in this big, crazy, scary world. And I believed in myself enough to do it with not much safety net. And I mean not much safety net in a way that I personally did not want to fail, but I knew that I could. And if you know that you can fail and you grow up in a position to where you are not going to be on the streets and you know you're not going to go hungry and you have a family that you can go back to, then you should be putting your all into yourself because you can. I grew up in a blessed position, I know that. But if you're not utilizing that in the sense that you're willing to take risks that other people don't, you're not going to get to the places that other people don't. And I don't want to sound like, oh yeah, I just quit my job because I know that I'll be fine and it'll all work out. But realistically, if you're in a position to where you can wake up and you're still going to be able to eat every day, then you should be doing everything in your power to get to the highest place possible. So that's my thoughts on that. I know that not everybody comes from that position, and that is from a position of privilege, and I wish that I had advice for that position, but I honestly don't. And it sucks. I wish that everyone was in the position to be able to take all of the risks that they want, to be able to change their lives, and they are. But there's a certain way that the world works that it is inherently unfair to some people. And one of my main reasons why I want to get extraordinarily wealthy is to, one, bless my kids with the same opportunities that I got, so where I can pay for their college and they're not coming out with student loans, to where I can buy them the football pads that they want to do, and then 2 years later they don't actually like football and they want to switch them to lacrosse, and I can go and buy him a lacrosse stick. I grew up with privilege, I acknowledge that, but I want to give that to my kids because I know it is inherently easier for them and it gives them opportunities that otherwise wouldn't be there. And that's just the fact of the matter. And the second reason is to be able to give to others, to help others. You can't help others in the same way without the funding behind it. Okay, I've gotten way off topic, but in essence, there's two reasons why I want to become successful and, by extension of that, wealthy. One is to help my family and to provide them with the same opportunity that my family provided to me. I want to be able to have kids that had the same opportunities as me because I know that life is harder without money. Life is not great just because of money, and there are plenty of really wealthy people that are extraordinarily unhappy, but they have different problems than money problems. And money problems is how the world works. I mean, you need to be able to provide food and shelter for your children, and that inherently costs money. From there, it's about compassion and the love that you're able to provide them, and that's a different form of currency. But I know myself, and I'm going to provide that for them regardless. So for right now, when I'm in my 20s, my prime, I need to be doing everything that I can to set myself up for success with the first portion of that. The other reason I want to become very successful is I want to be able to help others. And you can only help so many people through compassion. And that is one thing that I hold very near and dear to my heart, is helping others through compassion, because right now, financially, I'm not in the position to be able to help them financially. But the things that you can do with money can change lives. And I have a good buddy of mine who is the perfect example of this. He grew up in Colorado, and his parents were very hard workers, but they were not very wealthy, and they provided a life full of love, but not necessarily with opportunities to go to the University of Miami. But then very early on in his school career, he was selected for this grant that helped him go to the best schools in Colorado, helped pay for all of it, helped pay for his college tuition, and then now he's just done a speech to not only the donors, but then some of the other alumni of the program, talking about the impact that that money had on his life and the opportunities that it opened up. And it was an extraordinarily insightful conversation, one listening to his speech and talking to him about it, because we grew up in different positions, but just looking at us, you would never know. We had a similar college experience, and we went to good schools growing up, but our positions starting out in life were very, very different. And I think that they would be very different right now had it not been for the grants that got him through schools. And I think that is so powerful, just what you can do with money. His life was so drastically changed by the kindness in other people's hearts to not keep the money for themselves, but rather to expel that out into the world. And it's so cool because you get to control where that money goes. And they controlled it very well. I mean, he went through 7-8 rounds of interviews and tests and everything to make sure that he was a kid that was going to utilize the benefit that this provided. And oh man, did he. Oh man, did he. He is one of the best people that I know, and I'm just so excited for him and his life that was able to get that opportunity to go out and do all of these amazing things. And so that's what I want to say on that. I want to talk about the fucking time that I had. I mean, yeah, why not talk about it? I mean, I had the greatest 2 months that I've ever had. And that makes me so, so happy to say, because I remember 3-4 months ago being in the position that I was so scared of for my entire college career. I was having a blast in college. I thought it was great. And I knew that it was going to come to an end and that I was going to be working all day and all night, and I'm going to be in a job that I probably hate, and I had a girlfriend at the time that I knew we were going to go into long distance, and so I was just scared and scared and scared of the future. And I finally took control over that. I took control over my life in both of those ways, and I remember sitting in my car thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in that exact position. I'm in that position that I was so scared of. I was terrified of the position that I was currently sitting in. And look at me now, I'm living it. I'm living that fear. This will not stand. I will not live here. I will not stay here. This is not going to happen. And so that is when I started to think about quitting my job. But thinking only gets you so far. I was still miserable in my job after that. And it only came to me when I said, I couldn't do this anymore. I need to change. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to stand up for myself, believe in myself, and go for it. That is the scariest thing ever. It is so scary to make a change, but look at me now. Look at me in this position. Had I not done that, I would be in the same job, in the same position, not enjoying life. I got 2 jobs that were awesome opportunities. I have lived the last 2 months meeting all of my friends all over the US, talking to my family, being home, spending real time with them, watching my brother graduate, doing all the things that would be not possible if I didn't make that change. And I'm just so glad that I did. I mean, I can't get over it. I'm in such a vastly different position than I was sitting here 2 months ago because I made the leap. I did the trust fall. I believed in myself, because you're going to figure it out. You're not going to die. You're not going to die. You are going to spend it figuring it out. And if you fail, good. You need to fail. You need to fail to succeed. You can think of that job as, I failed that job. No, I didn't. I crushed it while I was in it, and I left my own terms because I wanted more. And now I have more. I wanted it, and I got it. I'm not going to say and sit here like I'm some genius that is a pro networker. No, I'm a normal dude that just talked to people. And I found how I'm going to get my job. I knew that I wasn't going to get it through applications. So I didn't even bother submitting them. I sent 2 applications out. I was writing up the 3rd, and I was like, this is pointless. Didn't do it after that. I spent all of my time talking to everybody that I knew, saying, hey, I'm looking for a job in commercial real estate. Do you know anybody? And I got connected with someone who connected me with someone. Now I'm getting that job. That is the way that it worked for me. Maybe that's different in whatever your field is, but I found the path that I'm going to take to get to my end goal, and I went after it 100%, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved telling everybody about how I quit my job and, oh yeah, I believed in myself, and they all told me, wow, you're kind of crazy for that, but good for you. That's awesome. I'll let you know if I can help you out. And all it took was one person that was actually truly able to get me the job. But everybody wants to help you out. Everybody is such a nice human. They really are. And if you're genuine to them, they're not going to just shut you down. And even if they do, fuck them. Okay? Next person. Like, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is you believing in yourself. And you not fucking yourself over by sticking in a position that you don't want to be in. And so, all that is to say, pursue it. Whatever it is. Maybe it's not changing your job. Maybe it's, I don't know, getting a dog because you're lonely. And you want some kind of companionship, but oh, he's gonna poop on the floor and he's gonna scratch up the furniture, and he's gonna cost money because we have to feed him, and then what if he goes to the vet? Dude, if you want it, that dog will be your best friend and change your life for the next 15, 18 years. My dogs growing up have been my best friends. And yeah, some of them have passed, and that was sad. But does that mean that I'm not happy that I had them for the time that I did? No. And we took the leap of faith. Granted, it's not a huge one, but you apply that to anything in life. Camera turned off. But look, I'm staying here. This is my apartment, and it's going to continue to be my apartment. I can re-sign that lease knowing that I can pay for it. I did that. You know what? I wouldn't have been able to do that in my old job because I don't know if I could survive another year there. And maybe that would have sent me home, but it didn't. I chose to stay here. I chose to use the money that I had saved up working at that job to be able to float myself for these 2 months. And I'm running out. My bank account went negative today. I had to go into my savings and rip it again until I get paid in, I guess, 2 weeks after I start on Monday. I'm running out. I'm running low. And so, I'm here though. And I wanted to touch on that part as well, about running out of money and just kind of getting it in the nick of time, which is great. And I'm extraordinarily blessed, and maybe that wouldn't have happened if things had gone a different way. But it didn't, and here I am now, and I've spent that money in the greatest way imaginable that has been so valuable to me and given me a time period in my life that I will never, ever forget. And this time has been so special to me because I've been able to see all of my friends. Got to go back home, see my hometown friends. Got to go play golf with my parents, my boys, my friends, just everyone. Just literally everyone. I've gotten to talk to and think about what I wanted to say to past relationships, and I got to have conversations and closure on so many different areas on my life that I can go into this job knowing that I'm in the position that I wanted to be in when I started this. And I'm so glad I did. And so I'm just over the moon. And so I wanted to talk about what I've been up to over these last 2 months and why I'm so freaking ecstatic. Because my phone died.